My mom could not have been the daughter of Jon Gosselin. Hannah interrupts herself mid-sentence while mentioning her mom. They were friends when they were kids. Every member of the Gosselin family, from the twins to the sextuplets, has been a reality TV star. They were a magical family of 10 who brought joy to thousands of American households. Tensions grew, and the family eventually split up, so that didn't endure. Hannah Gosselin is breaking her silence regarding mom Kate Gosselin after a long period of isolation from her siblings. People are wondering what she means by what she says. Following the news' release, many are curious as to what transpired behind closed doors. Nobody could have predicted the dark side of family life that the book depicts. We'll skip the small talk and listen to Hannah's thoughts on the Gosselins. Is it going to alter our entire worldview? Hannah Gosselin, along with her 7 brothers, has been a public figure since the day of her birth. She appeared on John and Kate Plus 8 as one of the sextuplets. The Gosselins' seemingly chaotic but adoring life was seen by millions of viewers each week. At every turn of their lives, cameras were rolling. Observers witnessed Kate's renownedly rigid parenting style, adorable infants, enjoyable family vacations, and more. However, they were oblivious to the reality of growing up in the spotlight. Hannah and her 7 brothers were the subjects of a meticulously staged performance, even though children should have the freedom to roam and discover during their formative years. Not only was it a chronicle of their lives, but it was their lives itself. Private moments were frequently transformed into television shows, as there were production crews present at all times and cameras were constantly rolling. Just picture yourself as a little kid with a microphone attached to your shirt, watching your every move as you play with your siblings and knowing that millions of people are watching. As a matter of fact, Hannah spent her entire childhood in this state. Never could they find the peace and quiet they craved. She and her brothers began to see the less admirable sides of their family as they grew older. Her parents' reality TV couple, John and Kate, went public with their nasty divorce after becoming America's favorite. Their house had a complete transformation. It had transformed from an area of regulation and control into a battleground. The family was divided, despite the fact that John and Kate only obtained a divorce in 2009. The children, who spent all day together, had to separate. Everything that transpired following the breakup of John and Kate was covered extensively in the news. They each gave a radically different account of what happened in interviews. By the end, Kate took full responsibility of the children, and John struggled to maintain some involvement in their lives. Differing approaches to parenting and domestic dynamics were the root causes. The kids were caught in the middle as their argument escalated, and the worst possible outcome occurred. Despite the other kids' enthusiasm, Hannah was adamant that she and Kate not go. This wasn't surprising because she had always been unique compared to her brothers. She appeared to rebel against Kate's rigid family rules even as a young child. Hannah appeared visibly uneasy at various points throughout the performance, in contrast to her brothers, who mostly remained silent. Various clips from the past have surfaced, revealing instances in which Kate appeared particularly cruel to Hannah. Some of her admirers went so far as to suggest she might have been singled out more than anyone else. Still, Hannah remained silent for a long time following this. The expectations placed on her as the expected daughter, reality TV star, and obedient child were indeed fulfilled. Something, though, was obviously shifting in the background. She and her dad, John, became closer as she grew older. She should have made the life-altering decision that would have changed her trajectory years ago. But she waited until 2018. Her lifelong goal was to settle down with him. However, why is that? At that point, why did she choose John instead of Kate? In those years past, what had transpired? It appears that the facts are now starting to surface. Everything changed because of the battle for children's rights. As previously mentioned, Kate was initially entrusted with the primary responsibility of caring for all 8 children, while John was granted occasional visits. Kate was considered the more mature and responsible parent at the time, and the court and the public agreed. Regardless, she persisted in child rearing, even as John faced consequences for his behavior following the breakup. He seemed like a terrible parent because of his carefree behavior and frequent appearances at Las Vegas parties. It appeared that the breakup had an effect on him. As a result of her reputation for being overly strict with her children, Kate remained in the family home and continued to cause problems. The parenting strategy appeared to be working well for a long time. Kate took the kids in, and John went to court to try to become more involved, but he was unsuccessful. As the kids grew older, things changed, particularly for Hannah. She started prioritizing her time with John over her siblings. When she visited for longer periods of time, he frequently mentioned how much he enjoyed her company. Many mistook the strong relationship between the father and daughter for the beginning of something much larger. John made it seem like Kate was preventing him from seeing his children in 2015, when he publicly stated that he hadn't seen them all together in years. But simultaneously, Hannah's relationship with her father was strengthening. Of all the children, she seemed to be the only one prepared to rebel against her mother's authority. There were whispers in 2017 that she was considering a permanent move in with John. It transpired then. In that year, the custody battle between John and Kate reached a turning point. John asked the court to separate Hannah from Kate, claiming that she had expressed her desire to live with him rather than Kate. Since many viewers assumed the Gosselin children would remain with their mother indefinitely, this decision shocked many. However, Hannah did not make her decision carelessly. Perhaps now we can put ourselves in their shoes and see the emotional weight of that decision. Hannah finally moved in with John permanently in 2018 after years of court battles and behind-the-scenes tension. She was later joined by her brother Colin. His rare wins only served to heighten the curiosity of onlookers, particularly his devoted fan base. They left for what reason? Did Kate's parenting style play a role? Was there anything that people didn't know about the story? Even after she relocated, Hannah remained silent regarding the matter. Even though she never spoke ill of her mother, her departure said a lot. Now that she's opening up about it, the truth about what went down in private is starting to surface. The relationship between Hannah and her mother. In that case, how was Hannah's relationship with her mom? Although she and her mom, Kate, should be able to rely on each other no matter what, their relationship has always been strained. It might have appeared fantastic from the outside. Raising 8 children on her own, Kate was portrayed as a strict and unforgiving mother. But eventually, tiny fissures started to show. These fissures allowed Hannah to finally make the decision that would change her life, to move out with her dad instead of staying with her mom and brothers. Hannah has never been completely forthright about her relationship with Kate, but she has dropped hints about their real dynamic over the years. When asked about her mother, she cautiously said, "My mom is a lot," leaving no room for further detail in one interview. How much did she mean by a lot? That her mother was being overly rigid, taking the lead, feeling emotionally distant? She may not have said everything on her mind, but that one line certainly got people thinking. On John and Kate +8, Kate had a reputation for being an overbearing and even cruel mother. Since she was responsible for 8 children, all of the same age, with the exception of her twins, it was understandable that she would require structure. The show did have some depressing moments, particularly those involving Hannah, though. According to some viewers, Kate scolded Hannah differently than she did her siblings and seemed to pick on her more than anyone else. Did they have a more serious issue, or was it simply a case of tough love? Perhaps we will never learn that. Over the years, John, other former cast members, and others in the industry have dropped hints that things were considerably more difficult behind the scenes than what audiences saw. John claims that Kate's parenting style was more controlling than strict. He claimed that Hannah was the one who was struggling the most and wished she could just run away. Then why was Hannah chosen? What made her ultimately decide to leave, as opposed to her brother Colin, who stayed? Some have speculated that it could be due to the fact that Hannah was so similar to Kate. Kate, who thrived on structure and authority, disliked her fierce independence. Some believe she simply yearned for independence from her mother and the restrictions she felt at home. Hannah made the decision to live with John full-time in 2018. It wasn't merely a shift in her residence. It became public knowledge that she had chosen her father over her mother. There was no other Gosselin kid who had done that back then. Because of this decision, Hannah's relationships with her brothers and Kate may have been strained. No amount of parental bickering could ever alter the fact that they were still brothers despite their differences. They would often find themselves wishing they had the courage to accompany Colin and their dad on their adventures. Despite everything that has happened, Hannah has never criticized her mother. She was gracious and reserved even when interviewed about her experiences, merely hinting at the difficulties she had. Perhaps she still holds her mother in high regard, or perhaps she would prefer to keep certain things from her at the moment. Hannah and her mom's relationship has never been smooth sailing, regardless of the truth. Maybe the truth about what went down behind closed doors will finally come out now that she's speaking out. John offers a fresh perspective on life. Moving in with John made things easier for Hannah, and she started to relax and let her guard down. Given that she described her life with her dad as ordinary and free, it's reasonable to assume that their homes were distinct. She got to know him better than the media had painted him. Even John, who had complained about Kate's domineering nature for a long time, now supported Hannah's decision and claimed she had been miserable for a long time. He was supportive, concerned, and most significantly, gave her independence from her mother, which she lacked at home. It wasn't simply on weekends that she began spending time with him. There was less pressure to conform when she was with her family. And she also didn't feel the need to adhere to concrete plans or regulations because she wasn't famous. Hannah previously stated that she considered her life with John to be ordinary. It may be a little word, but its meaning is profound. For years, she had lived in an environment where she felt confined by rules that prevented her from expressing herself freely in public. In contrast, John exemplified the polar opposite. Somehow he managed to normalize her. She was not one of 8 children supervised by adults according to a predetermined plan. Hannah was her only name. It was easy, and spending time with her dad was her favorite. They have an unbreakable bond, and John has stated that he loves having Hannah by his side. Additionally, he expressed his agreement with her choices and his trust in her ability to make independent decisions. In Kate's household, there were strict regulations that everyone had to follow, and challenging the boss wasn't always an option. Many are curious as to whether John was involved in Hannah's decision to depart from Kate's residence. Did he ask her to live with him? Was she inspired by his idea? Hannah claimed she was free to choose. Since she felt more comfortable and happy with her dad, she informed him that she was prepared to move on. When she informed her dad about it, he was overjoyed. With her move-in with John, Hannah has been relatively low-key. She occasionally shares shorter videos of her life on TikTok, but she remains mum on the subject of why she departed from Kate's residence. Is she holding out on telling the full tale until the moment is ripe? The safety of her family may be her primary concern. The untold tale. Now that she's an adult, Hannah wants to tell the truth about her mother. She seems prepared to clear the air now that she has begun spending time with her brothers. My mom was not the bad person some people have made her out to be, but she wasn't perfect either. No parent is, Hannah finally says after a long pause. With this balanced view, Hannah begins to talk about what it was like growing up in the Gosselin household with her mother driving. It was a tight friendship, according to Hannah and Kate. The reason behind this was her intolerance of living under her mom's roof. Another problem, according to family sources, was her mother's treatment of her brothers. The way Hannah's mom handled her brother Colin only served to exacerbate their already strained relationship. Everything was set up in a certain way. Mom would always remind us that we were representing the brand. My mom wasn't just raising kids, she was also in charge of how we all looked to the world. And I think that's sad. While growing up, Hannah and her brothers played outside without Colin, she said in an interview for a Vice TV show. He was irregular about when he ate. Going on from there, she revealed that her mom had constructed a room specifically for Colin to keep him locked up. Their mother would justify her actions by saying she was shielding them from Colin's misbehavior, but they never understood why. Kate was physically, emotionally, and verbally abusive to them, and Hannah did not like it. She had had enough of it and was exhausted. When Hannah finally admitted the truth, everyone was taken aback. Everyone knew Kate was a stickler for rules and regulations, but no one ever thought it would get so bad. Hannah emphasizes that despite the bad, her mother was a rock for her children and worked hard to give them opportunities. She instilled in me many admirable qualities, such as perseverance, diligence, and strength of character. I will treasure these attributes forever. Rebuilding bridges, the challenging journey to mending broken families. The status of Hannah and Kate's relationship has been made clear. Can you see a way to make things right? It took time for the Gosselin family's problems to surface, and Hannah is right. It will take time and care to fix these problems as well. John and Kate's inability to get along was clearly caused by their years of public bickering, and their children were perpetually caught in the crossfire. Hannah says, for a long time it felt like we had to pick a side. No child, regardless of age, should ever have to go through that. Relationships between parents and children and siblings were both impacted by the stress. Less frequent visits from Hannah and Colin were made by the children residing with Kate after they moved in with John. Early attempts to get along, as Hannah describes them, frequently failed due to everyone's residual anger and hurt. I think my mom was hurt when I picked my dad over her. She's not ready to hear my point of view, and I wasn't ready to understand hers either. We both needed time and space. According to Hannah, her relationship with her mom has gone through phases, including complete silence, cautious texting, and occasional visits. Even with her brothers, they can now meet up casually. Because of setbacks and misunderstandings that have sent them reeling more than once, they haven't made consistent progress. Much research into the past is required, and fads of yesteryear can reappear when we least anticipate them. Hannah has made significant strides in maintaining contact with her brothers, particularly the 4 sextuplets who remained with Kate. The following statement was made by her. "I love them," she continued. "They're part of me in a way that no one else can understand." Hannah enjoyed going clothes shopping with her sister Leah and plans to have more informal get-togethers with her siblings. With her brothers, she says, "I will always love them. We shared everything from the womb to this weird childhood experience. That bond can bend, but it never completely breaks." She takes care to spend time with them away from their parents' prying eyes. Because of this, they have somewhere to vent without worrying about repercussions at home. It has been challenging to get everyone to show up consistently for professional family therapy, but Hannah says, when it's just us, we can be honest about our experiences without worrying about betraying either parent. This has helped heal some of the deeper hurts. In due course, your body will recover. When their turn comes, everyone must be prepared. Hannah knows that things may never be the same between her and her mother, but she holds on to the hope that they can get along again. We're different people now. I think the goal isn't to go back to how things were, but to create something new that works for who we've all become. We'll never know the truth. Despite speculation, hints, and statements, the complete truth regarding Hannah Gosselin's decision to leave her mother's house may remain a mystery. She still tries to be respectful to her mother by being careful with her words, even though she has told her some truthful things about her and her brother's lives. A lot of questions remain unanswered, though, and everyone acknowledges that. If Kate's relationship with her was so bad, why did she remain silent? Where do her siblings stand? Were they of a similar mind but opted to remain with their mom? Or are they perceiving Kate differently than Hannah is? Hannah appears to be content with her decision for the time being. Instead of dwelling on the past, she is fully immersed in her life with John. Whether she will ever reveal more details or encourage her brothers to do so remains an open question. When it comes to stories, opinions vary on which ones should be divulged and which ones should be kept hidden. No one disputes that the Gosselin family was irrevocably altered by Hannah's choice to depart from her mother's residence. Her decision's true motivation may remain hidden until she chooses to reveal it. Hannah Gosselin's future plans. What will she do? Now that she's an adult, Hannah Gosselin can escape the constant scrutiny that defined her childhood. What happens to her in the future is entirely up to her. Now that she is an adult, she can write her own story without interference from her parents or custody disputes. Who knows what she'll do with it? Hannah has chosen to keep many details of her private life under wraps for the time being. She doesn't use TikTok for anything other than her friends. Hannah appears to desire a less dramatic and more ordinary existence, in contrast to her mother's preference for the limelight. She has given Jon glimpses into her life through her online presence, but she has been cagey about sharing details about her past and future with him. In your opinion, will she choose to put the past in the past? Hannah has a lot of choices now that she's 20 years old. She could work, go to school, or return to the entertainment industry whenever she wanted. Hannah is more than simply the daughter of John and Kate Gosselin. Whether she wishes to re-enter or remain out of the spotlight is irrelevant. She has emerged from the shadows and is forging her own path. The Gosselin family's tale, however, is far from done. While we have learned more about Hannah's mom and seen glimpses into her life, Kate Gosselin has remained silent. Will she admit that she is a somewhat authoritarian mother? As of right now, all we can do is delay. One thing we can all agree on, though, John's daughter Hannah Gosselin has finally spoken out against her mom. Is the revelation something you can get behind? Is there anything in Hannah's statement that made you think of a personal family story? Use the space below to pen your tale and musings. Thank you for watching this film. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one.